Greetings and welcome back to yet another daily run, and today we are playing as Kane. I know I always say that I really love Kane, of course not in the literal sense of the way, but as a character, because he has some very unique disadvantages and advantages that not many others have. Like, an advantage with Kane is that you have slightly higher damage than usual, you have a key to open the doors, and of course you have the trinket, which allows you to open golden chests for free. But in return, of course, he has slightly lower range and he only has 2 red hearts. And I really like the 2 red hearts level of health, because at the same time you can't get too comfortable, but you can afford to kind of trade your red hearts away for curse rooms or maybe devil beggars at the start of the run. So it's not as extreme as, let's say, being the Lost, which can only afford to get hit twice in a room, but it's not as lenient as having 3 hearts and being able to do a lot of things. I feel like when you get a bit more experience in the game, it's a fun way to experience or play as characters that are not just standard like Isaac, If Isaac is the most standard character, I think, in a way he's also the most balanced, but at the same time he's also the most boring, I guess, in the sense that he doesn't have any unique properties that make him stand out at the start. You just build your run as you go. But with Kane, or some other unique characters, as soon as you start playing, your run is already a bit more unique than with someone else. We did manage to get Mom's contact in our first treasure room, and because Kane does have slightly higher luck stat, also he has the Mom's foot, not Mom's foot, lucky foot, which increases his luck even more. That means that it's a bit more likely for us to get those freezing shots out. We're fighting the champion Famine here, which is not something you really want to see in the first floor, but the Cube of Meat is a great pickup for us. It does allow us to utilize our freeze effect with the Cube of Meat, so we can deal a lot of damage at the same time. So things are looking up for us. Very, very great. I choose to put the bomb here because there are coins next to it and there's a chance of us getting the second secret room, and thankfully that's what happens. I made a slight mistake here, a slight error, in the fact that what you usually want to do, you don't want to pick up spirit hearts until you're really sure you're going to the next floor. Because what ends up happening, if you pick up spirit hearts and then visit the curse room, you lost that spirit heart forever. But if you leave them on the floor and go visit the curse room with your red health, then you can pick up red health up again, kinda renew it and heal yourself up, and then pick up spirit hearts when you enter the next floor. Thankfully, it didn't end up mattering too much, just because we did get a lot of spirit hearts, and we did get teleported to the devil deal, which contained even more black hearts for us. So when we entered the next floor, we had like 5 spirit hearts, which is plenty enough for us to feel very safe about us getting the chance for a devil deal. And we did get the dark bomb, which means that our health situation is pretty much sorted out, because he will take those red hearts and transform them into black or spirit hearts, or sometimes even little spiders that will help us fight the bosses. There was an interesting choice here in the shop. It had the chaos item, and the chaos item, if you don't know what it does, is randomizes item pools. So in general, what ends up happening is that some items only exist in the item room pool. So that means that when you go to the item room, you can only get certain items from there, and certain items only exist in the devil deal pool. And when you pick up that chaos, what it ends up doing is kind of reshuffling all the pools, and you have a chance of getting a shop item, for example, in the devil deal. It's a fun item, definitely. I pick it up more often than not, but what I don't like how the concept of the item, how it works. It's programmed that it chooses a pool, and because there are some pools that are kind of more likely to appear than others, well, not really more likely to appear, but what ends up happening is they're equally likely to appear. So that means that you're gonna encounter some item pools or some items more often when you pick up chaos, when it's supposed to be this random chance. So that's the reason why I don't really like how the item is programmed. What I think it should do is just take every item that's in the game and give it a uniform chance, or the same chance, so the distribution of items you get are uniform. And that just gives you that, instead of first choosing a pool and then giving you an item. So for that reason, that's why I really don't like chaos, and I don't like picking it up. But again, like with the previous dailies, it's one of those things, picking up chaos, if you have the knowledge somehow, or because maybe, you saw a video or whatever, that picking up chaos on this run will give us the shovel later on, is you want to do that, of course, because you don't want to get a shovel or to get to the next floor. And I think that's what ended up happening. Players that ended up picking chaos here ended up getting the shovel on the third floor, I think, or maybe the fourth. It doesn't really matter. But the fact is that when they picked up the chaos, they did get a shovel, and I didn't, of course, because I think the item, well, it tries to randomize things a bit more. I think it makes them more the same, and I think it's less fun to watch things, the game, when you do have chaos. So the reason, yeah, I mean, no reason. I explained my reasoning, but that's also one of those things that kind of bums you out in a daily. You know, when you make a choice out of preference, you know, because some people picking up chaos is not, I think, objectively a better choice. Maybe it's even an objectively worse choice, but not by much, you know. So what ends up happening, some players that do like the item end up picking it up and having the advantage, and some people who don't have the advantage, or maybe the other way around on some dailies. So that's one of those things that I think should somehow be removed from the game. I don't know how that could be done, because I don't think picking up items that seemingly have no effect should have that big of an effect here. So back to the game, we made it to boss rush in time. I did skip some rooms because we were kind of in a hurry, and I do choose to take the Samson's chainsaw, or the ball and chain, because that does allow us to kill rocks for free without using our bombs, and because of course we don't have any bombs. I think that's a great pickup for us, and of course it also does allow us to block some shots of the enemies, because we did manage to get Shoop the Whoop in the earlier floor. I'm feeling very, very comfortable fighting boss rush, because having Shoop the Whoop means we can use it once every run, and because we also have a pretty substantial amount of damage, alongside with our Trinket Curved Horde, which increases our damage even further, to of course then be able to kill or damage 80% of the health of both bosses as soon as the new wave starts, because of course it does refresh every wave. We get 2 charges, and because Shoop the Whoop only does have 2 charges, means we can use it every 2 bosses. I did decide to pick up the Polaroid, even though maybe it seems a bit useless, but the reason is maybe we get a blood bank here, and because we only do have Spirit Hearts and a good way of regenerating them with the Dark Bomb, I think it's a great pickup for us, because we can then afford to play those bosses, and I mean blood banks and devil beggars and things like that. This boss fight was kind of scary. I mean, I didn't really expect it. What ends up happening, of course, here, I tried to freeze it. I thought I was gonna escape that shot, but I didn't manage to do it. 4 Fallens is a pretty scary thing, especially this early on. You usually see this in a dark room or something. But I performed one of the best dodges I performed on the dailies right here. Like, how I managed to get through that without dying, I will never know, but that's what happened. I'm really surprised that I only did manage to get hit only once in this boss fight. But of course we did have Shoop the Whoop, which helped us a little. And if I used it a bit better, I think this fight would be even smoother. But of course, what can you do? Sometimes things don't go as smoothly. And what I really like about the fact that we got Abaddon is that we only have black hearts. And I feel like when you only have black hearts, and you have 12 of them, your run is going really well. And at this point I feel like I was playing really well. I didn't get hit a lot of times at all. I think through the whole run I got hit about 7 times, which is very unique for me, and you saw me doing some crazy dodges there. Not really super crazy, but dodges that sometimes usually I wouldn't be able to do them for whatever reason, but maybe today I slept well, and what ended up happening is I did manage to play this daily pretty well, I think. I had the Yeva rune and the Cards Against Humanity rune, which spawns a lot of poops. First of all, I start shooting them, then I remember, of course, I have the ball and chain, so I can use that to kill the poops faster. And I feel like I'm not gonna get a better use out of Jera than duplicating 2 the poops, not poops, but Cards Against Humanity's cards. And what I'm doing, kinda silly, I do duplicate them, use 1 in the big room to get a lot of poops. I get the Petrified Poop, which gives us even more coins, so we get a ton of consumables here and points, and then I use it again. But of course what ends up happening with the poop or this card is if the space is occupied, which it means if there was already a poop on it before, not a new poop doesn't spawn there. So what ends up happening, I kind of ended up wasting a Jera rune, and I could have probably kept it, or even better, maybe I could have used the poop card, get a lot of poop and coins on the floors, and then use the Jera to duplicate those coins and then pick them up. But because we do have 99 cents, and every cent after that doesn't give you, or every money after that doesn't give you a lot of points, it didn't end up making too big of a difference. I don't know why I'm stuttering so much, but it didn't end up making too big of a difference, so things, thankful, it didn't matter in the end, that's what I'm trying to say. So when we come to the end here, is really all about trying to find a way down, and we didn't find any AWAS runes before, and we were at a kind of a bomb deficit before, so we couldn't find all the second secret rooms. There was a sneaky AWAS rune hiding somewhere, but I didn't find it, sadly. So I'm just using my ball and chain here to kind of destroy all the rocks in hopes of finding a crawl space and then a way down or a way up. But that is not what ends up happening, and sadly, of course, our devil deal also didn't contain the shovel in any case, so that's too bad. But even so, I'm really proud of how I played today. I think I played very reasonably, and the fact that I did put up at ranked 74th is telling. I think that this is still a good daily, even though I didn't find a way down. With that said, guys, I thank you for watching, and I hope to see you next time.